Sure.
Okay, yesterday we left off at this stage. We were talking about the 5 domains. So we have these 5 domains: strategic program management, which has 11 tasks in it. It would cover 15% of the total exam, which means 25 questions are going to be coming from this area. From program lifecycle, second domain, we have this is the largest domain. It has 35 tasks, and these 35 tasks are from 5 different areas like initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and closing. It covers 44% of the whole exam, and there are 75 questions going to be coming from that area. Benefits management, 8 tasks, 11% and 19 questions. Stakeholder management, 7 tasks, 16% and 27 questions. Governance, 11 tasks, 14% of the whole total coverage, and 424 questions. Now, having said that, that does not mean that any domain is less important than other, because you can't take chances in this kind of exam where the pass percentage is so high that you have to aim at about around attempting 90% of the paper right. Then probably you are not going to take any chances in any area. Moreover, you have to leave some chance for the bad luck, because you may get some so bad questions they cannot be attempted right. So that reduces your chances to pass. Therefore, you have to be really very attentive when you are attempting the exam. First domain is strategic planning and program management. Naturally, this would cover the linkage to the organizational strategy, the business value to the organization, and all that. So this says identifying opportunities and benefits that achieve the organization's strategic objectives through program implementation. So when you will be achieving the strategy of the program, that would be contributing towards the organization's strategic objectives, and this program is actually going to be taking advantage of the opportunities and the benefits which can be delivered to the organization. So whatever benefits are realized by the program are actually for the benefit of the whole organization. Program management in program lifecycle, we have those 5 areas. So all the activities relating to initiating, planning, executing, controlling, and closing. Initiating means defining the program itself and its constituent projects and obtaining agreement from the stakeholders. So you may have to have identified the program stakeholders already. You must, just like in project, we used to initiate the project. So here, the initiation of the program is going to happen here, and subsequently, the project charters would be written. Project charters would be granted to the project managers, and they should be given the power to start doing their work. So this is initiation of a program. In planning, it is defining the program scope and developing the program, including all constituent projects and all activities that occur within the program. So here we have to be careful. We are going to plan the program, meaning we are going to develop the program management plan. We are going to have a program work breakdown structure and things like that. And in doing so, we would be initiating several projects, and each project has to be looked into up to a specific level of detail, because you have to be very careful how much in detail you go into a constituent project. You do not want to micromanage it. You will only establish linkage with the project up to the level that it can then be managed and controlled by the project manager. So the relevant detailed planning of a constituent project would be done by the project manager, but the overall outline plan of the whole program will cover up all the projects. So as I said yesterday, the WBS of the program will go as deep as one level deep inside the project. That means you will define the projects and their phases. You are not going to be involved in identifying the activities of the project or defining how the project actually is going to be done. You just define the major phases and give some milestones and broad timelines to the project manager as if he can plan further. So as I said yesterday, you have to think big like a program manager. Once you get into the execution, this is performing the work necessary to achieve the program's objectives and deliver the program's benefit. So this is where the benefit realization starts. So during the execution of the program, the projects will start, projects will be done, projects will deliver the product, service, or result. That product, service, or result would ultimately be realizing certain benefits in the long run. And while this long run going on, program is going on. Project may have concluded, project may have delivered its value, but at the same time, the benefit realization of the project is continued in the life of the program, and program is not only looking after the benefit realization of the project, but it is unifying the benefits from all the projects which get completed and consolidating those benefits into the desired program benefits. And these desired program benefits are going to be ultimately satisfying the organizational strategy, bringing business value to the organization. In controlling, this is monitoring the progress of the whole program, which includes the progress of the projects, includes the progress of the benefit realization of all the work which is to be done in program. It is not only the projects, the constituent projects which the program is made up of. When a project delivers its product, it finishes. But then there are certain activities to unify and consolidate the benefit realization, and that is not done by the project teams. Project teams are not responsible for doing that work. So that means there has to be some staff, some team, some people available as the program team who will be responsible for taking care of those benefits, for doing the activities of program management, realizing the benefits and consolidating the benefits into the larger good of the program, and ultimately delivering that value back to the organization. So in controlling, we will make use of the program team in addition to the project teams. So updating the program plans as required whenever there is a requirement. Program is a lengthy business than a project. If a project can be 1 or 2 years, the program may be 5, 10, or 20 years long. So in the life cycle of the program, it may have to be revised many times over. So the role of change management and risk management is pronounced in program management, but they are at a very high level. They are not small changes like the change management in a project or small risks like that of projects, but these are program level changes and program level risks. Closing is the finalizing all program activities, including all constituent projects, executing transition planning, archiving, obtaining approvals, and reporting. And remember, though program may look like a very long ordeal, but it does have a life of its own. It just like a project, a program will also someday come to an end. We understand that for such a long program, it might be difficult to perceive when it is going to finish. Maybe it is not the lifetime of one program manager. Maybe the program manager is changed in the way. No program manager is going to maybe serving the same program maybe for 20 years or 10 years. So if that be the case, if program life is so long, then maybe we may have a number of program managers being changed in the life of the project. So this is very highly likely that the program manager who started this program may no more be with the program at the time of closing. So we are talking about something big. Program lifecycle, as we said, it relates to these activities which are related to initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, and closing. Benefit management. Now, this is where the projects are, when they get completed and they hand over their product, service, or result to the program then takes on the responsibility of of converting those products or results into the benefits. The benefit realization of the projects will be the responsibility of program, and not only that, but it will steer this benefit realization into unification of the benefits for the good of the program, as if the program strategy is met, and ultimately that benefit is transferred to the organization. So it is defining the benefits, creating the benefits, maximizing and sustaining the benefits provided by the programs. As far as stakeholder management is concerned, it is capturing stakeholder needs and expectations. Naturally, we have to start doing that as soon as the program starts, but this is going to be a continuous process, and it will go on until the end of the program. And during the life of the program, the stakeholders may keep changing, and this continuous job of keeping a tab on the needs and expectations of the stakeholders, and managing and kind of keeping them engaged throughout the life of the program, is the job of the program manager. Gaining and maintaining the stakeholder support, and ultimately mitigating and channeling the opposition. So you may have to have the job of taking care of the negative stakeholders who are not in your favor. So how do you interact with them? How do you channel their opposition as if that results in your benefit? This is the skill the program manager is going to have. Last but not the least is the governance. Here we establish those processes and procedures for maintaining the program management, oversight, and decision-making support for applicable policies and practices throughout the entire program life cycle. I hope you understand what the program governance would be. If you are clear about the concept of governance, there was, when we were doing project management, there was a project governance as well. And project governance was those set of guidelines based on which the project management plan was being created. So even before the project management plan was created, there was first a project governance structure established, which was in line with a higher order or higher level governance. If that project is a part of a program, then the project governance would be subordinate to the program governance, and program governance may be subordinate to the portfolio or organizational governance, and so on and so forth. So governance is just a direction, the main policy of the organization, that is the organizational governance, and whatever are the operations going on in that organization, or any job going on. For example, there might be some guideline provided for the overall risk management in the organization, that would be risk governance. Any guideline for overall managing the programs in the organization would be the program governance. So these are generic in value, but they apply to all programs. So that program governance would be instrumental in establishing the program management plan. So if I say that governance is the cornerstone on which is the program management plan is based, that would not be wrong. Similarly, whatever are the general guidelines for are the major policies, key policies for project management, they establish, they tantamount to be the project governance structure, and projects are bound to be developed in accordance with that governance structure, and where this governance structure is coming from, the next higher level. So I hope you understand that from where this program governance is coming. This program governance is subordinate to the portfolio management, to portfolio governance, or for that matter, to the organizational governance. So these are our five levels, five domains. You see how these domains are structured. They may be revised and restructured whenever the role delineation study is undertaken, as it might likely be done in the next realignment. But so far, the domains we are studying, they had been revised long time back. So new tasks had been developed, they were reviewed and restructured. Knowledge and skill were associated with that. With each one of these domains were defined. They developed a core list of knowledge and skill applicable across all domains. Like, a program manager should have all of these skills which would be applicable in all the domains. And then our final model of program management, our program governance, includes 72 tasks, as I just defined that there are 72 tasks you have to do as a program manager, and in doing so, you would be utilizing 126 skills and knowledge. So you just need to keep a tab on that. If you want to be a program manager, and it is a good practice that you must understand these 72 tasks and those 126 knowledge and skills, as if you can be proficient in each one of them. Uh, it is desired that a program manager, it is a good practice that a program manager must be proficient in all of those 72 tasks and 126 knowledge and skills. But naturally, nobody can be perfect, but still, as a candidate for the program management professional exam, if you have not done any one of those tasks, or you do not have the knowledge or skill which is outlined there, at least you must be able to describe what it is. You must know what is a good practice, even if you are not practicing it. So that is very important for you. Once again, the distribution, 72 tasks, how they are distributed, what is the percentage in the exam, as I have shown you earlier. 11 tasks are there in the strategic management, program management, which amounts to 15% of the total exam. 35 tasks in life cycle, 44% of the exam. And we can very clearly perceive how many questions are you going to be having from each one of these areas. This I have already explained what domain 1 does. Domain 1 is responsible for
Suhail,
identifying. Yes, Raya.
uh, are the subtasks to these tasks are just those five in the second domain, or there are others as well?
Only in the second domain we have got those subtasks. Other domains
Oh,
are larger in size and they have got lesser tasks. No subtasks in them.
okay. So the subtasks are only in domain 2, the program
In
life
domain,
cycle.
yes, and that is a very detailed one.
Okay. And before I forget, the video for yesterday's session or today's session, how will I access it afterwards?
Mm, I had uploaded. I'll just check it. and let you know before this session. But I did upload it, and I'll give you the link in the chat window.
Do you upload it to like open YouTube or is it just accessible by us?
Nobody knows that that is on the YouTube, but I can make it private if you like. But for the time being, it is uploaded there, and only you are going to be knowing the link to how to access it.
Okay.
So, talking about domain one, that is strategic program management. As we said, this is identifying the opportunities and benefits to achieve the organization's strategic objectives through program implementation. So we had how many tasks for that? We had 11
11.
tasks. So here we start. These are the 6 tasks on this screen, and on the subsequent screen another 5 tasks. So total of 11 tasks. Let us read it through and see what it is. And meanwhile, please keep making notes. Uh, how many questions are you expected from each one of these tasks? I think I've written wrongly. There's 7 tasks I've written. They are not 7, but 11 tasks. So if you divide
11
25,
now.
you are going to have 25 questions divided by 11. So 2 point something. So 2 to 3 questions per domain.
Per
I mean,
task.
per task. Yes, Prayal?
Yes.
So 2 to 3 questions. So that's why I am asking you to be very specific about each task and try to deduce what are those 2 questions that could be coming from this task. First of all, perform an initial program assessment. Just underline the words program assessment by defining the program objectives, requirements, and risks. Again, underline definition of program objectives, requirements, and risks. In order to
First,
ensure, yes, please,
so here the first underlining was what?
program assessment.
Okay. And the second is?
Define program objectives, requirements, and risks.
Okay.
And why are you doing it? In order to ensure program alignment with the organizational strategic plan, objectives, priorities, vision, and mission statement. So this is the last part. It is all this is to be done to ensure program alignment with all of these things. Organization strategy, objectives, priorities, vision, mission, all of it. So there are 3 things in this question. One, you must know how to do the program assessment, initial program assessment, how to do it. Then you must know how to define these objectives, requirements, and risks. And number 3, you must know how to align the program alignment, how to do the program alignment with the organizational strategy, objectives, priorities, visions, and mission. So I can clearly see 3 questions coming out of it. So 2 to 3 questions you are going to be getting from this task. So if you have done it, you know all of these 3 areas very clearly. You have been doing similar kind of things. It is much easier for you. But for example, you had never been involved in program assessment. I will strongly recommend that you get into the program assessment, study about it, how it is done, and all that. So that's how you are going to bridge this gap. I do understand that most of the things written here you must always already been doing. So there is no problem whatsoever. Although I've said that program management is a level higher than project management, but there are so many skills which you already had as a project manager, which are being promoted to the program level. So you have to count on your experience and skills you had in project assessment. That project assessment has been promoted to the program assessment now. And in program assessment, you might have gone a level higher, but the basic tools and techniques may remain the same. So you have to be specific. Are there any new techniques or new tools which I need to do in assessing programs, or are there the same tools and techniques? So that's how you will align yourself with this task. Moving on to task number 2, it says establish a high level roadmap with milestones and preliminary estimates in order to obtain initial validation and approval from the executive sponsor. Again, we can clearly see 2 to 3 major items here in this task. Number 1 is establishment of a high level roadmap, and that roadmap is going to be about the milestones and preliminary estimates. So, high level roadmap with milestones and preliminary estimates. And why are you doing it? To obtain initial validation and approval from the executive sponsor. So you are also interacting with the executive sponsor. That executive sponsor means the key stakeholder or the program sponsor. Whomsoever is in charge of program manager, who is the boss of program manager, how are you going to interact with that person or persons, and how do you get initial validation from him and approval on on the program? So you have to present to him this high level roadmap, clearly showing what are the major milestones and what are your broad estimates, the preliminary estimate, and you will seek his approval and validation. So you can clearly see at least 2 questions coming out of it. Are you okay with it?
You're saying basically one set of questions will be around establishing a high level roadmap,
Hmm.
and the other would be regarding obtaining the initial validation and approval.
Exactly. You see, this is just, breaking it down, but it is not necessary that you will exactly get 2 to 3 questions from here. There are so many tools and techniques, they will also get a fair share of questions. So those questions, all these questions of 25 questions you are going to get out of strategic program management. If you get maximum questions out of maximum 3 questions out of task 1, I have already shown you what they could be. Maximum 2 questions from task 2, what they could refer to. But in addition, you may have questions from various tools and techniques specific to the strategic program management, which we are going to be talking about. Task 3, define the high level roadmap framework in order to set a baseline for program definition, planning, and execution. So previously, we had established a high level roadmap. That is, we have just, uh, for the sake of getting validation and approval, we have created a roadmap, a high level roadmap. Now we are defining that roadmap further in shape of a framework, as if we can set the baseline for the program definition, planning, and execution. So this baseline will then define. This is happening after your boss, your executive sponsor, has given you the approval of general approval of the high level roadmap you have created. Now you are converting it into a framework and using that approval as a baseline for further program definition, planning, and execution. Again, we have at least 1 to 2 questions coming out of task number 3. Broadly and very visibly, I can see 1 question, but moreover, if you can create a question out of the framework, that could be an additional question coming from here. So the high level roadmap ability framework, this is a meet for 1 question, and the other one is the program definition, planning, and execution. How this baseline can be used for program definition, planning, and execution. This could be how this question could be framed. So as you understand from your PMP experience, the scenario will be built out of these things, and they are not going to be straight questions asking in a sentence what it is. That might be a lengthy scenario, and as I have defined earlier yesterday, that some are very lengthy scenarios and some are like half a page long scenario. So you have to be very fast reader. You must easily read quickly and easily grasp the idea of it. If you are not good at that, then probably you will have to reread the whole scenario a, a number of times, and that will consume a lot of time. You see,
Okay,
maximum
so
time.
here,
Yes, please.
so for task 2 and 3,
Hmm.
there is establishing a high level roadmap and then there is a defining the high level roadmap.
Exactly.
What is the difference?
The difference is previously I am just seeking the approval of my boss. So I have to present to him that this is how I am going to go about it. This is my roadmap, and these are the basic milestones I will be achieving. This is broadly my estimate. I am not going into any detail here, but I am just for the sake of convincing him about what that I have grasped the whole situation, and this is how I am going to plan. So this is the high level roadmap I have created for him. But that roadmap, once approved in task 2, then forms basis as a baseline for creating the program definition, planning, and execution. In task 2, it is still in unapproved format, and when it comes out of task 2, it is now a baseline. And now this baseline I am using to further define the program. Is it okay?
So is the difference the approval or the level of
Mhm.
detail we have?
Exactly, exactly. So
No, no.
you
Which one is the difference? Is
approval.
it the
You see,
level of
approval,
detail or the approval?
right? When something gets approved, it can be baseline. We are seeking to have a baseline through that approval. So once he agrees with us that yes, I agree with your roadmap you have created, and you have the idea you have for uh, conducting this program is generally approved by the executive sponsor. That means he has given the validation and approval, and now this is the broad baseline of that roadmap. Using that broad baseline, now I can set on further definition of program planning and execution. So high level roadmap is common in two, but the roadmap in task 2 was created before the approval. Now after the approval, this roadmap is final. I am now converting it into framework and then defining the program. Okay.
Okay, so the level of detail is still the same
Yes,
from task 2 to 3. It's just now it's can be used as a baseline because it
exactly,
has been approved by the sponsor.
exactly. Julian, are you with me?
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Next task, task 4, is define the program mission statement by evaluating the stakeholders' concerns and expectations in order to establish the program direction. So in domain 1, we are still struggling with the idea of getting things right. So I must get into connection with our stakeholders, but I would have already identified and I would have analyzed what kind of stakeholders are there and which are more important to me. So I will be evaluating the stakeholder concerns and expectations in order to establish program direction. So the two things are happening here. One is the program mission statement is being created, and how is it being created? It is being created by evaluating the stakeholder concerns and expectations. The second major part is evaluating the stakeholder concern and expectations. And third part is what we need to do it for is to establish the direction for our program. How are we going to travel the distance on the high level roadmap? That is the program direction. So you have to scrutinize the program direction by proper evaluation and alignment of the stakeholder concerns and expectations. So I have to align it all together. If I can somehow do that, my sponsor, my stakeholders, and my team would all be thinking in the same way and following the same path, moving in the same direction. That is the program direction. So three things I repeat again: the program mission statement. Number two, the stakeholder evaluation of stakeholder concerns and expectations. And number three, establishment of a program direction. So these are the three main headings in task 4, which gives us clearly 2 to 3 questions. Task number 5, evaluate the organization's capability by consulting with organizational leaders in order to develop, validate, and assess the program objectives, priority, feasibility, readiness, and alignment to the organization's strategic plan. Now, this is a bit wordy. So, what do we have here? First of all, we need to evaluate the organization's capability. So, organizational evaluation, as far as the capability is concerned, this is my main task here. And how do I do it? I get in touch with the organizational leaders. And why do I get in touch with them? As if I can develop, validate, assess the program objectives, their priorities, feasibility, readiness, and alignment to the organizational strategic plans. All of these things are very important, because once this alignment you establish, which has already started in task number 4, when you establish the direction, now you are, in a way, you are validating that direction. You are now convincing everybody that this is how the direction we set is right. You see, it defines the program objectives, it defines the priorities, it is feasible, we are ready to do that, and it is also aligned with the organization's strategic plan. This is a further elaboration which confirms our direction. This confirms our direction alongside our capabilities. Are we capable? Is our organization capable of doing it? That aligns with the program direction in task 4. So this is my 5th task, and I can clearly see at least 2 to 3 questions coming out of it. Task number 6, identify organizational benefits for the potential program using research methods such as market analysis and high-level cost-benefit analysis in order to develop the preliminary project scope and define benefit realization plan. So with every step, we are going a little deeper into the quagmire. So what we are trying to find is, now after we have established the direction and proven the direction, now we are trying to ascertain or identify what are the benefits we are going to be delivering to the organization ultimately. You are trying to figure out those benefits we are ultimately going to give through this program to the organization for the potential program using research methods. What are the different research methods we'll be using? How we'll be doing the market analysis? And we have to prove that whatever benefit we are suggesting here are also feasible. The cost benefit analysis goes by it, as if in order to develop the preliminary project scope and define the benefit realization plan. So two things are coming out of it. Number one is the program scope, and this is not the detailed program scope. This is just the preliminary program scope. So we are clear about generally about the program scope here, and we also have a benefit realization plan. We did have a roadmap, so that roadmap defines what benefits are to be delivered at what time in the life of the program. So that is benefit realization plan. So benefit realization plan is going to rely on the roadmap. It is based on the roadmap we have established. So we now, when we define the benefit realization plan, that will tell us what benefits should have been delivered at what stage in the program, and that also tantamounts to clearly define when which projects should have completed, right? Because those projects, if completed, will be able to realize those benefits. So this is the benefit realization plan, which we can come up in task number 6. So far, so good.
Yeah. So basically, out of task 6, you
Hmm.
have identified the organizational benefits
Hmm.
and have a broad stroke or organization benefits realization plan.
Exactly. Program scope,
Two things.
that program scope is not final. We will create the program scope in detail later, but this is a preliminary program scope and a benefit realization plan. Okay, moving on to task number 7. Estimate the high-level financial and non-financial benefits of the program in order to obtain maintain funding authorization and drive prioritization of projects within the program. Now that we have established what is to be done, in this task, I am going to decide the source of finances and non-financial benefits of the program, as if I can obtain or maintain the funding authorization. From wherever the funding is coming, I have to ascertain the sources of that, and in accordance with the availability of the funding, the prioritization of the projects within the program will have to be done. So the main issue here in task 7 is the funding, right? So I will do the financial analysis, the financial and non-financial benefit making, and ultimately obtaining the funding authorization. And whatever is the funding authorization, I will prioritize within my program all the projects according to the way the funding is going to be released. So with every step, I am going a step deeper into the things, and in every step, I am developing something new. So here, I will have an idea of finances, of funding, and the prioritization of the projects within the program. If you
You're
remember,
saying
yes,
financial and non-financial benefits of the program.
yes, and they are high level. Remember, they are
So
not
is that
detailed.
funding, the financial and non-financial benefits?
Hmm.
What else is there other than funding?
Uh, okay, you can relate this with the normal cost benefit analysis where we have tangibles and non-tangibles. So the tangibles is the financial thing, and non-tangibles are the non-financial benefits. Like, there is a benefit from this program that our organization will be more satisfied. People in the organization will be more satisfied with the way of working. The quality of life will improve. That is a non-financial benefit. On the other hand, the revenues generated, the business value generated out of it is a financial benefit. So this is kind of a, is a continuation of the feasibility we have already done, and bringing it in face value, we are trying to acquire relevant funding authorization. And based on whatever funding we are about to be procuring, we are we are going to be prioritizing our projects within our program. And here I have to highlight that the prioritization of the projects, prioritization itself is a job of, generally it is considered to be job of portfolio management. Because portfolio management looks after all the projects and programs within the organization, and overall prioritization of all the projects and programs within the organization is the responsibility of the portfolio management. But remember that prioritization only deals with the independent or standalone projects or programs. The projects which are within our program are the sole discretion of the program manager. Program manager can give work to a project within its program, and he has full authority to kill that project, to start that project, or to decide anything about the fate of that project. This project is not under direct control of the portfolio manager. Portfolio manager might be deciding the fate of the program itself, but not the ingredient project within the program. Portfolio manager can interact with a standalone project, all right, but he cannot interfere with the projects of the program. Portfolio manager may have the authority to altogether cancel this program, but it cannot say to program manager to close down your X project. This is not something portfolio manager can do. So, in a way, all the projects included in this program are the babies of the program, and program manager is like a portfolio manager for those projects. So all the decisions about the fate of those projects, their prioritization, the resource commitment, and whatever, this is all to be done by the program manager himself. Portfolio manager has no say in the ingredient or constituent projects of the program. Do I make myself clear?
Yes.
This is a very important point, and usually people do not understand it, because when it comes to portfolio management, we start thinking that all the projects and programs prioritization are being done by the portfolio without any consideration that these projects which we are talking here are not the direct part of the program, sorry, directly under the portfolio. They are directly under the program, and the program manager is responsible for the fate of these.
So basically what you're saying is that the portfolio manager can overall kill the program, not the individual components or projects within a program. That's
Exactly.
completely the discretion of the program manager.
Exactly. So, Julian, are you with me on that?
Correct. So what happens if the portfolio manager says kill the program? Then the program manager would give the order to close down the projects individually?
Of course, then everything goes. If program goes, everything goes. But
Right.
portfolio manager cannot interfere with the business of the program and cannot ask a specific project within a program to be closed down. That it cannot do. If this program is no more feasible, the program can be closed down, or it can portfolio can decide on the fate of the program, but not the constituent projects.
I got it. Okay.
Okay, and if this is clear, then we move on to task 8. Now we evaluate the program objectives relative to regulatory and legal constraints, social impacts, sustainability, cultural considerations, political climate, and ethical concerns in order to ensure stakeholder alignment and program deliverability. Now, these are so many things, do not be overwhelmed by them. But now that we have everything understood, we have also understood the financial and non-financial benefits. We have also understood that this the fund, how the funding is going to be coming to us. We have also we are able to prioritize the projects within the program. Now you have to look around and see all the other stakeholders. Are they going to be happy with us or not? What are their concerns? What can go wrong? There might be a stakeholder who may have objections on the regulatory side or the legal side of the program. This program you are doing, this is against the interest of the government of the government, or maybe there are certain legal constraints, you can't do this, or some the social impact of this program is going to disturb the ecosystem or something like that, or people the behavior of the people or citizens will be adversely affected, or there are some sustainability issues. This thing you are doing is not going to be sustainable, or there are some cultural considerations, political climate. You can understand all of these things are raising questions against the program. So we have to smoothen out all those questions. We have to address all those concerns as if we can ensure that our stakeholders, all of our stakeholders, are in alignment. They understand whatever we are doing is not going to be causing any adverse effect, and program is really going to be delivering what it says it will deliver. I hope this is amply clear. Task number 8. Okay, if it is okay, let's move on to task number 9. Here we obtain organizational leadership approval for the program by presenting the program charter with its high-level costs, milestone schedule, and benefits in order to receive authorization to initiate the program. Only now, when we have settled down all the stakeholders, we have addressed all the concerns, we have a funding mechanism, we have the uh, all the things in order, uh, strategic alignments and everything is done. Now we take this thing in front of the organizational leadership for approval purposes of the program, and we present our program charter with its high level, and program charter is not a detailed program plan. So,
Suhail, just
yes,
a quick question.
mm,
In task 8, you said ensure stakeholder alignment and
mhm,
program deliverability.
mhm.
What exactly would you say is deliverability? Is it the cost benefit analysis, or is it the feasibility, or what is it that you call deliverability?
Okay, that is the confidence of the stakeholder that this program will be able to do what it says it will do. And as far as the feasibility is concerned, we have already done it in last two steps. We have done the financial, non-financial benefits. We have talked about the cost benefit also. So we have done all that, and now we are bringing the stakeholders on board, presenting them with our finding and showing them that this is doable. We are ensuring them and we are gaining their confidence. So this is the program deliverability which we are getting, we are getting out of the stakeholders. We are ensuring them, and we are getting a consent from them. First of all, that they do not have any objections in above mentioned areas like legal constraints, social impact, sustainability, etc. And this program uh, is going to be delivering what it says it should deliver, meaning what that it is already cost benefit analysis has been done, and we are confident that it is going to do what it is. And stakeholder, we are giving him the same confidence as if we
So
can. Yes.
it's their confidence or stakeholders' confidence
Hmm.
in saying that this program will deliver the organizational benefits
Hmm.
that they're seeking.
Exactly. And naturally, it's not only the organizational benefit, the stakeholder is also going to be associated with it. So we are making him a party to it. His benefits, the benefits which will get to the stakeholder, they are also confirmed by that. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, so there are no more questions about task 9?
I think I was still trying to clear out 8 when you started 9.
Okay.
So 9 is gaining the leadership approval.
Here we are creating the program charter. Here we are creating. You see, previously we got a baseline based on the roadmap. That was a very preliminary stage. Now we are trying to create a program charter and getting it approved by the high level executives. So we are bringing on board the organizational leadership and we are seeking their approval for the program by presenting them the program charter with its high level cost, milestone schedule, and benefits in order to receive authorization to initiate the program. So if they allow us, the program will start. So after the roadmap, this is second major milestone we are achieving in this process, in this domain. First was the roadmap, baseline on the roadmap, and now is the program charter. And program charter will have a outline, high level cost, milestone schedule, and benefit, but it will initiate the program properly.
So over here, you're just presenting it.
Yes. And remember, this strategic program management is this is not going to be in sequence with the life cycle. It is not in sequence. Actually, when the program management, strategic program management is being done, the program life cycle is also going on. So basically, the program charter has, when it is developed here, the life cycle is in initiation. We are in the initiation right now. So all these domains may be parallel. They are acting parallel to each other.
So basically, when you present this charter to your leadership,
Hmm.
you're basically presenting the high level costs, milestone schedule, and broad stroke benefits of the program.
Hmm. Hmm. And we are seeking their authorization on that. And based on that authorization, we now can initiate the program. That means in program life cycle, we are in initiation phase.
Okay.
Right. So the 10th task is to identify and evaluate integration opportunities and needs. For example, human capital and human resource requirements and skill sets, facilities, finance, assets, processes, and systems within program activities and operational activities in order to align and integrate benefits within or across the organization.
So, Suhail, by the end of task 9, do we have an output in terms of authorization?
Of course,
Can we say that the output of task 9 is an approved charter?
yes, but as I said, this is also part of the initiation of the program, which is happening in program life cycle. So this job we are doing from the strategic point of view is yielding the program life cycles initiation, and that is program charter is being approved. So we will actually in program management, we do not go into the detail of each and every process, their inputs, outputs, and techniques and uh, inputs and outputs. ITTOs are not the concern here. Here our concern, ITTOs are not provided in program management.
Okay. So how do we say that a task is done? When do we know that a task is done?
Naturally, once you are authorizing this thing, the charter is created here. For all practical purposes, charter is created in task 9. Authorization is given, but it will cross paths with initiation. So you must understand that that thing is also happening, and this thing, task 9, is also happening. So when task 9 is happening, the initiation of the project actually is happening.
And okay, what do you mean by initiation of the program?
That is the program life cycle. We'll go to that, and we will have 44 questions out of it, 75 questions out of it. Program life cycle. So this is just the strategic side of it, right? We are putting the strategy right in its place. This is the sequence in which the things are happening strategically. And once we talk about the program life cycle, then the thing which is in your mind, like in what sequence the things are happening, that would be made clearer there.
Okay, so right now you're saying that task 9 is the basis of program
Yes,
initiation in program life cycle.
exactly. So
A
the
trigger
charter,
point for that.
exactly, the charter is issued here. Task number 10 is identify and evaluate integration opportunities and needs. And what are those integration opportunities and needs are like the human capital, human resources, different skill sets, facilities, because program is not a small thing. It may be spread over many cities or states. So you need to have a lot of assets, facilities, finances, processes, and systems involved in that. So all of those things within the program activities and operational activities in order to align and integrate benefits within or across the organization. So this program, the benefits this program is going to deliver to the organization are widespread. So we have to encompass all that. So we are talking big. We are talking about um, a big change in the organization, which might be geographically spread over a larger.
Suhail, you've been muted for the last 2 minutes. We
Okay,
couldn't hear you. Me and Julian, we were talking and checking if you could hear us, but I think you couldn't hear us.
okay. So task 10, you did not listen to me.
No.
Okay, let me do it again. So task 10, we are identifying and evaluating the various integration opportunities and needs. That means from what human capital will be involved in it, what human resource requirements, what are the skill sets required, what are the facilities, geographic localities, assets, finances, processes involved, and the systems. This is this all encompasses a larger framework of the organization of the operational level. So this is not only the program activities we are talking about, we are talking about the operational activities, and they all have to be aligned, and the benefits are to be integrated as if they can be transferred to the organization. Does it make any sense? I understand that what we are doing here is without going into the detail, we are just trying to understand the topics. So this might be very heavy on you because whole of the syllabus is bombarded on you. That's why you may not be able to don't try to understand everything right now, because this is ultimately going to be the part of the subsequent lectures. But here we must understand what all is covered. I just keep noting that this is the whole coverage of the course. So on
Okay.
this, we have a complete chapter written on this.
Okay, good.
So last task, task number 11, is then to exploit strategic opportunities for change in order to maximize the realization of benefits for the organization. So after having done all that, we have mobilized all the resources and facilities in task 10, and now we are trying to exploit that strategic opportunity. And our purpose was to realize the benefits for the organization. So this program is going to deliver those benefits, realize those benefits for the organization, and that is ultimately fulfillment of the strategy. So this is the strategic program management. This is the linkage of the program strategy with the organizational strategy, how they merge together. This is only about the strategy linkages between the program and the organization. So these 11 tasks talk about that. In addition to these 11 tasks, there are a number of knowledge or skills which you require to have uh, in satisfaction of the strategic program management. So there are 19 items listed here, and these are the areas you may have to understand and read. If you have experience in them, good enough. If you do not have experience in them, then you have to understand them and study them for the purposes of the exam. You must be very clear about what a business strategy is. You must know business oblique organizational objectives. Naturally, you know that. That's why we are talking all about it. How do we do the economic forecasting? What is feasibility analysis? How do we do the financial measurements and management techniques? What are the different funding models? What is the funding process? Intellectual property laws and guidelines, legal and regulatory requirements, some exposure to the marketing, portfolio management. Naturally, we will discuss a little bit about portfolio in this book also, but at the same time, I would strongly recommend that you go through the portfolio management standard. Program and constituent project charter development. Program's mission and vision. I am not talking about the vision and vision of the organization. The program may be 20 years long. It has its own mission to achieve and its own vision. So, how do we see that? Public relations, requirement analysis techniques, scenario analysis, strategic planning and analysis, system implementation models and methodologies, and the trend analysis. You might see that some of these items you are very well aware. Some of these might be new for you, new in the sense that you may not have done them before. So just earmark those points which you do not understand better and try to prepare on those items and try to just at least understand what it is. Even if you have not done those things earlier, then at least try to understand what it is, how it is defined, and how do they do it. So if at
So,
all you get
Suhail,
any,
in like
yes,
system implementation models and methodologies, where would I go and read it up?
your guess is as good as mine. You see, if I were you, I will go on internet, on Wikipedia, and try to find, if I don't know about it, I'll try to find what are different things given out there. Uh, I don't need to read all the books on system implementation, but if I grasp the concept, and I personally feel that Wikipedia is a very good source that gives me an ample head start on that specific area, and gives me a satisfaction that I understand something about it, right?
Okay, so
So
currently, are we looking at the system that we're trying to implement, or it's a general
it's a general
model?
concept. It is a general concept. You see, why are we doing the projects, programs, and portfolios? Actually, organizations have systems existing in them, and we are trying to bring a change into the system. That's why we are doing the projects or programs or portfolios. So when we are bringing a change in an existing system, the everything will be disturbed. And when we try to reorient it, then probably we have to understand the same thing, what you call it, as is scenario and to be scenario. As is the system, how it works now. To be scenario is how we want it to be functioning. And then we do the gap analysis, and then you understand that these areas are to be changed, as if we can move from the current state to the future state. And this is where the system implementation comes in. So how do we model them? Sometimes we do the prototypes, sometimes we have other methodologies. The main mission is to move the organization from its current state to its future state. That is our target. So the system implementation works comes into play at that stage. Okay, that's okay.
Sure.
Okay.
So let's move on to the next area. And next area is program life cycle. And as I said, program life cycle is not in sequence with the strategic program management. Program life cycle is happening while the strategic program management is happening. So therefore, initiation activities would again be addressing certain things which we have already done. Look at the task 1 here. In initiation, it says specifically develop program charter using input from all stakeholders, including sponsors, in order to initiate and design program and benefits. This is where actually the responsibility of program charter is. But as I said, it crossed paths with the strategy. So from the strategy point of view, when we were, you know, trying to talk about charter there, this is exactly the step where this charter is being developed. So here we need to understand how to develop a program level charter. And while we are doing that, we have to bring on board all the relevant stakeholders, and that also includes naturally the sponsors. And the purpose is to initiate and design program and benefits. So this is what is our task 1, which is comparatively much simpler. But if we look at it from a project manager's point of view, this is little complex, because here there is more to be done at a higher level and less to be done at lower level. You will see in task 3, when we are going to be creating the work breakdown structure and all, that we are not going to go in as much detail as we go in the projects. So yes, we develop the project charter here in task 1. Task 2 is translating the strategic objectives into high-level program scope statements by negotiating with stakeholders, including sponsors, in order to create a program scope description. So what are we trying to do? We have already created the charter. We understand the strategic objectives, and we are trying to break down the strategic objectives, the strategic objectives which have been given to us, the program strategy, program strategic objectives. are to be broken down to high-level program scope statements, which naturally we are negotiating with the stakeholders, involving them in it. And what are we trying to do is to actually come up with a program scope description. So we will have a number of program scope statements, and they will be encapsulated into the program scope description. And this all is oozing out of the strategic objectives. Organization has many strategic objectives, uh, but for this program, they have earmarked certain strategic objectives to be achieved through this program. Therefore, these are the strategic objectives which are to be met by this program, and we are now breaking those strategic objectives down to the program scope statement level, and ultimately we will develop a program scope description here. So this is part task 2 of uh, initiating the program under program lifecycle. First step was the development of the charter, and the second is creation of a program scope description. Are we okay till now?
Yeah. So even in this, where exactly do we have an approved charter? Task 1, task 2.
Task 1.
Okay. So we have a signed off charter at the
Exactly.
end of task 1.
If you look at it closely, you will find that the charter was presented in strategy to the high level executives. So what we are doing is we are putting up a draft. We are putting up a program charter draft to the higher ups, and the ownership of the program charter is with either the program sponsor or the organizational leadership. You similar to what the concept of chartering was in project management, program manager may be instrumental in writing it, but he is not the author of it. He is not the authority or the owner of the program charter also. Similarly here, program charter is owned by the leadership or by the program board or whatever you call the key stakeholders or the program sponsor. So there is a boss of the program manager whom we may call the program sponsor. Moving on to task number 3, you develop a high level milestone plan. We already have a roadmap. Roadmap is not the milestone plan. Milestone plan earmarks those events which are instrumental in the life of the program. What are the where certain major accomplishments are to be made? These are my milestones during the life of this program. What are my high level milestones? Why I can only be talking about high level is because at this stage I cannot look deeper inside. I can see broadly, and whatever are the major accomplishments of the program, they may be earmarked as the milestones. This milestone plan will grow and more milestones will be added to it. But at a very high level, after we have the charter and the program scope statement, we are set up to define some of the major milestones of the program. And for that, we will be using the goals and objectives of the program, which have already been established earlier. Applicable historical information and other available resources, that could be the work breakdown structure, scope statements, benefit realization plan. You remember, benefit realization plan was developed in strategic program management. So in order to align the program with the expectations of stakeholders, including the sponsors. So basically, the main output here from task 3 is the high level milestone plan. Task 4 will develop an accountability matrix by identifying and assigning program roles and responsibilities. In order to build a team and to differentiate between the program and the project resources. This is extremely important that proper accountability matrix be created, defining the duties of the program staff and the project staff. This is identifying and assigning program roles and responsibilities. And once these program roles and responsibilities are defined, it will clearly demarcate between the core team activities and about the program and the project resources. They will have separate tasks. Task 5 is define the standard measurement criteria for success. So we are basically defining the acceptance criteria for that matter. If it was a project, I would be defining the acceptance criteria. Here, from a program point of view, this is the standard measurement criteria for success. What will tend amount to the success of the program? For all constituent projects, by analyzing stakeholder expectations and requirements across the constituent projects in order to monitor and control the program. So when can we claim that this project has been completed? So what should be delivered as a result of that project, as if we can call it complete, and then we can start managing its benefits, realizing its benefits. So clearly, all the projects which are going to be defined in the program, uh, for each project, we must have a standard measurement criteria, and all the constituent activities of the program will be will be abiding by this measurement criteria. So before having this, we have already developed an high level milestone plan and the accountability metric, and now we are talking about this standard measurement criteria of for success. This was task number 5, and the last task of initiation is to conduct a program kickoff meeting with key stakeholders by holding meetings in order to familiarize the organization with the program and obtain stakeholder buy-in. So once the initiation is done, we will have a kickoff meeting, and that would be and stakeholders must be involved in it, because stakeholders, we are going to take them along on board on the program. So that would formally announce the program has started. Then we move on to the planning of the program, and the next task is part of the 9 tasks of planning. In initiation, we had 6 tasks, and in planning, we have 9 tasks. So the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, 14, 15, these are the tasks from 7 to 15. These are the tasks for planning the program. And naturally, that is dependent on the initiation we have done just now. So 7th task is to develop a detailed program scope statement. If you have been following me, what I have been saying, you have seen that we did develop a preliminary scope statement earlier, where it was in task number 2, we created a preliminary scope description, and even before that, in strategy also, we did talk about this, I think. Right. So task number 2 is where the program statements were created and ultimately converted into the program scope description. Now, here we are creating the detailed program scope statement. Because initiation has been done, all the stakeholders are on board, and program has kicked off. Now we can deliberate more on the program scope and come up with a detailed program scope statement by incorporating the program's vision. I said program has its own vision, own mission, and its own strategy, definitely aligned with the organizational strategy, but program has a small word of its own. So this program scope statement will be incorporating the program vision and all internal and external objectives, goals, influences, and variables in order to facilitate overall planning. So in presence of this detailed program scope statement, we will be facilitating further planning because without a detailed scope statement, it is impossible to come up with a work breakdown structure. This is a lesson you already have from your PMP. In projects, we if we do not have a well-defined scope, our WBS is not going to be as good. Here we are talking about not the project WBS. Here we are talking about the program WBS, again, which is at a higher level. So we will be in task 8, we will be developing this program work breakdown structure in order to determine, plan, and assign the program tasks and deliverables. Program tasks and deliverables. That I'm not saying project tasks and deliverables. No, this is not my responsibility to define that program projects. I mean, the project tasks are not going to be included in the WBS. So I will my program WBS will have activities like how the projects will be created, how the projects will be managed, how the projects will be, the interaction with the project, what projects can, how the resources are managed with these projects, how projects can interact with other projects, and how the output of a project, the deliverable, can be converted into the benefits, and how the benefits could be unified to form the organizational or program benefits. So this is my WBS. And while I'm creating my WBS, you will see later that WBS, when I will define the projects, I will, my WBS, my program WBS will go into the project up to the first level. And the first level is I will define the major phases of each project, naturally in association with the project manager, the relevant project manager, but I will not go any deeper than the phases, and that too I am doing in consultation with the relevant project manager. Rest everything, dividing these work packages into activities and planning those things. This is their job. This is the project manager's job. Establish the program management plan, task 9. Now, once we have the WBS, now we are all set to establish the program management plan and schedule by integration plans for constituent projects and creating plans for supporting program functions, for example, quality, risk, communication, resources. So, not all the 10 knowledge areas, as in the case of the project management, here, which are more important things which have to be integrated at the program level, is the program quality, program risk, program communication, and program resources. This is what has to be planned into. You can consider them as the program knowledge areas if you want to speak the same terminology as PMP. So they will act like program knowledge areas, the quality, risk, communication, etc. So they have to be planned as if they can form part of the program management plan. These constituent plans will be consolidated into the program management plan in order to effectively forecast, monitor, and identify variances during program execution. So what variances are we talking about here is again at the program level. This is not the project level. We are not going to be measuring the earned value of a project or an activity or something like that. We are not concerned about that. That is the job of the relevant project manager. Task number 10 is to optimize the program management plan by identifying, reviewing, and leveling resource requirements, for example, human resources, materials, equipment, facilities, and finances, in order to gain efficiencies and maximize pro- productivity, synergies among constituent projects. Now, here when we say optimize, We are no more talking about being effective. We are going beyond that. We are going to be efficient. So bringing in this efficiency is optimization. And as a program manager, I have to define in my program management plan that my program does not waste resources. The resources, no matter what resources they are, there's a funding, their people, their whatever, their machines, their material, whatever the resources I'm using, this should have been designed in the most intelligent manner. They must be properly optimized. Critical chain must have properly been created as if none of the resources goes for a waste. Larger the initiative you are taking, more are the opportunities of waste. So this is the level of program manager to ensure that in his program nothing is wasted, and he plans to optimize the things to the maximum level. Task number 11 is define the project management information system. You see, in the last two steps, we have first defined the project management plan, and then we have optimized the program management plan. And for optimizing, we had looked at all the resources. So basically, it has tried to act as a portfolio for all the projects which are included in this program. So managing those projects, the resources for those projects, how the resources would be given to several projects was task 10. And now we are talking about defining the project management information system. So a workflow system through which all the activities amongst the projects could be unified and monitored. So PMIS, by selecting tools and processes to share knowledge, intellectual property, documentation across constituent projects in order to maximize synergies and savings in accordance with the governance model. So, how are we going to do it? This is defined in the governance model. As we were already talking about, we must have governance. So, program governance model would have defined how the project management information system should behave. And we will define the PMIS accordingly. So I hope you understand what a PMIS is. Uh, this could be a set of automated tools which could help you do your job. Even in project management, you had this PMIS. It could be the scheduling software, it could have other software, other workflow packages, or some customized software created for better management of the project. That is called a PMIS. And any scheduling software alone cannot be a PMIS. It has to be associated with other things, because all various documents of the projects or programs have also to be, maintained in some configuration system. So that configuration system will also form part of the project management information system. 12th task is to identify and manage unresolved project level issues by establishing a monitoring and escalation mechanism and selecting a course of action consistent with program constraints and objectives in order to achieve program benefits. So after we have developed the project management information system, the name project management information system may be confusing. So the name does not matter a lot, because it could be called a program management information system or a project management information system. Whatever the system is, that does not really matter. But you can give it any name. So here once we have the PMIS, we are identifying and managing unresolved project level issues. So which could not be addressed in the project management plan, or which were left unresolved. And to do that, we will be establishing a monitoring and escalation mechanism, and we will select a course of action consistent with the program constraints and objectives in order to achieve program benefits. Meaning what? Just like in projects, we had a change control mechanism. So here we have the monitoring and escalation mechanism. We will monitor what is happening, and if something can be resolved, we will resolve it. But if it cannot be resolved, it has to be escalated to next higher level. So this is same as issue escalation. Issues were, as soon as an issue raises, we try to resolve it, and if we can't, we escalate it to the next higher level. Exactly same on same lines, the monitoring and escalation mechanism is actually addressing that. Task 13 is to develop the transition, integration, and closure plan for defining exit criteria in order to ensure all administrative, commercial, and contractual obligations are met upon program completion. So basically, uh, we are developing a plan to get out of the program. When the program is completed, naturally, as I have taken the example of a very long program of 20 years, this program has been going for 20 years. That will form part of the system. It will have deep roots. How do you disengage from there? What is your exit criteria? How do you transfer all what you have done back to the operations, and how do you disengage? So this has to be properly transitioned. People have to be trained. It has to be properly integrated into the operational system, and you have to conduct some closure activities as if the program is no more, and it has been properly transitioned from ensuring all the administrative, commercial, and contractual obligations. So this in this step we are trying to be able to hand over the things completely to operations. Task 14 is to develop KPIs, key performance indicators, by using decomposition mapping, balance scorecard in order to implement scope and quality management system within program. So once we have had those, project management information system and project management plan, and milestones were already there. So I will define some KPIs for the program, key performance indicators, which will indicate. Why do we have key performance indicators? Because I, sitting at a higher level, may not be able to see how the project manager is managing his project and is he doing well or not. So, from my level, whatever task I have given to the project manager or to my program team, I must have certain indicators defined which would portray if they are doing well or not. So, I will not micromanage, but I will control them through these KPIs. And naturally, I am seeking they are reporting to me also, and they are giving me their performance. But from other source, I also confirm checking these KPIs whether those those activities are being done accordingly or not. Those objectives are being met or not. So we will use for that purpose the balanced scorecard in order to implement the scope and quality management system within the program. Everything is according to the quality and overall scope of the project of the program. Is it going well or not? This is to ensure that. So KPIs will serve me for that purpose. Last task of planning is to monitor key human resources for program and project roles, including even the subcontractors, and identify opportunities to improve team motivation. For example, develop compensation, incentive, career alignment plans, and negotiate contracts in order to meet and or exceed the benefits realization objectives. Remember, project programs are so long, sometimes they look like organizations. Do you know NASA was created as a program, but when the scope expanded so much, that they realized that this program will never finish. So ultimately, they converted it into an organization. And now within NASA, there are many programs and portfolios running. So that is a very good example. So a program is a fluid kind of a thing which may have a tendency to expand. They are very long in duration sometimes, and sometimes they could be grown into organizations. But right now, we are not talking about that. Right now, what we are focusing at is that a program will meet its strategic objectives, will deliver that assigned benefits, they will realize the assigned benefit, and ultimately, they will also be closing. So throughout that time period, we have to take care of our people, and it is just like an organization take care of their people. They are provided the compensations, the incentives, and all that. So it is it is less like a project and more like an organization. So program is a more motherly kind of a setup in which the people have longer loyalties and they coexist with with the program for a longer period of time. Then we have execution. I think we should not move on to execution right now uh, because we are almost completed the time. We can move to the 16th task tomorrow if you like.
Sure. So, I know you're trying to set up like a framework or boundaries, but right now each task just brings more questions to my mind. So I don't know if it's going to get better
Hmm.
when we actually start reading it, but right now it's, I don't know, it's just
Actually,
kind of
we have yet not started.
muddied up.
We have yet not started the course, right? We have yet not
Yes.
starting the program management standard for program management. So you will get
Okay.
all your answers there. I am just presenting to you the syllabus, and you are supposed to get disturbed. You are supposed to have questions.
Okay.
And from when we start studying that, then you will start getting answers. And then those things which are not answered, that is your journey to this curiosity. You will keep, digging deeper into those areas, and you will learn more. You see, nobody can teach you program management. You have to have your own curiosity, and that curiosity will be satisfied when you will yourself dig down into those things. Maybe I can't convince you of certain things. I can't, convey certain things to you, but I just have to instigate you, and then the things will start taking their own shape over a period of time.
Can you go back one screen, please?
Of course.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, Farial, did you have a question? Or
Oh no.
okay. Um, uh, task. Well, first of all, you should talk to my boss about task 15. And in task 12, identify and manage unresolved project level issues. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Because
Okay.
I'm kind of conflicting between this and a program manager not kind of putting his foot into a specific
Right. I
project.
understand. I understand your point. You see, uh, I'm not interfering with the business of the project, but there will be certain, because project is ultimately a subordinate entity within the program, and whatever a project manager can resolve, he will resolve those issues by himself. But there will be issues which will have to be escalated upwards. The unresolvable issues which the project manager will not be able to resolve because that is beyond his power. You see, when he is doing a project, a standalone project, when a project manager is doing a standalone project, the escalation path goes directly to the project sponsor. Here, who is the project sponsor? If anything project manager cannot resolve, it comes up to the project sponsor to decide, and whatever decision project sponsor gives, that is final. Here, project manager is subordinate to the program manager, and program manager is the sponsor of the project. So all the issues which are unresolved in a project, and project manager doesn't have the power to mm, resolve those issues, they will have to be escalated to the sponsor, and in this case the sponsor is the program manager. So program manager must be mindful that such like issues will be coming to him, and how will he be able to deal with them. So he will have to have a monitoring mechanism of all the unresolved issues. I don't say that he is going to dig down into the project and seek out the unresolved issues. There is a mechanism, escalation path already defined within each project, which will ooze out the unresolved issues to the program, and then program will monitor progress on them and establish the escalation mechanisms and resolve those issues. Is it okay?
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Any last comments?
No, you were just going to share the links
Yeah.
for the last
Okay,
two
just a
sessions.
moment.
And we are having a session tomorrow, right?
We are having?